also addressing the media.
All three of Cousins' interceptions were kind of deep in Philly territory. Do you see any similarity or common thread on this?
No, I think kind of looking back on them, they'll all have their own story. I think we were trying to be aggressive, on the on all those downs. They were kind of one of them. That last one was kind of a longer yardage, kind of situation type thing when we were throwing the ball to Adam out in kind of the flat area, deeper flat area, and then we were just trying to activate JJ on a kind of a 2nd and 10. Thought we'd get a little bit more on the first down play call. Ended up kind of, checking the ball down and getting right into that 2nd and 11, 2nd and 10, and tried to activate something, and Slay made a good play. Sat inside and made a good play on the football. He's a really good player, had a good night, and ultimately we've got to find ways to make it easier, on our guys and try to give them an advantage when they can, but didn't run the football enough. They kind of had some things schematically that, got us into some different, phases of our offense by just trying to, get good plays off versus some good looks, and that's where I got to do a better job. Make sure we stay true to what we are and what we want to be offensively. But yeah, those turnovers were tough. Just kind of those momentum killers here and there, and every single one of them has their own story, and we'll make sure that we coach them up and put our guys in better positions.
What was the plan defensively in the first half? I mean, they come out and they kind of run pretty good against you.
Yeah.
So what was sort of the plan, and what were the adjustments?
Yeah, I think the plan, was to try to, account for obviously Jalen in the run game, and they put a lot of pressure on you with those RPOs and different variations. Sometimes they're reading to throw, sometimes they're reading to, pull and run, and then they've got, layers to what they do on those early downs. So those just kind of 4 or 5 yard hits kind of put them in manageable 3rd downs, and they were able to kind of convert here and there. I think they were over 50% for the night. But ultimately, when I look back on it, there was some ops for us, 2nd and long, 3rd and long, where they were able to, he puts a lot of pressure on the defense with how he can break contain and, make some off-schedule plays. I thought, we were early, especially early on in the game, we were right there. A couple plays I can remember where we were right there, and they just made the play. And that's where I think you got to give them credit. We'll obviously have to evaluate things we can do better, coaching staff-wise, and really me personally, to really put our entire team in a better position to not only get off to a faster start, but then be ready to bow up and try to respond like we talked a lot about doing.
They get that fast start in that first half. How tough was trying to get back in it and try to regroup? How much did they think out of the game plan at that point?
Yeah, I think, that's where, looking back on it, we tried to be aggressive, use some tempo, and we were able to move it here and there once we started activating some of that. But ultimately just didn't finish past that, that touchdown pass to Irv. We just kept getting down into the high red and just be, one play away from getting, being able to activate some things down in the low red to try to score. But that's where I give them credit. They were going to have a plan where, they were going to try not to let us throw it over their heads and, keep everything in front. And we were patient enough, but it requires you to execute time and time again. And, we just didn't quite have that consistency tonight that we look for and our guys have demonstrated. So we'll go back and look at it and see how we can improve. Yeah, I would have to go back and look at it. I just know we had talked about maybe getting to Caleb some time here and there, and I think just the way the game was kind of going, it felt like a time where, the defensive guys wanted to get him a few snaps, and then, as always, he made a couple plays. Looked like he had some, some burst to him out there, and Cam's, in my mind, still our starting corner. It was just a matter of just getting a young player time that we feel like has earned the right to get on the field here and there, either by package, dime or whatever it may be, or, getting him in there on some of those early downs.
What do you say, if anything, to Irv after a play like the drop he had, just to kind of reinforce your message overall?
Yeah, we're going to come back to him. That's one of the things that happens when you play, in an offense with guys like Justin and Adam, and obviously when we, have our offense in sync. A lot of times, we're going to be able to get some good matchups for Irv. And if Justin's going to dictate coverage, Irv is going to get some opportunities. And I'm excited about seeing him make some of those plays. Irv's going to have a heck of a year for us. He is. He's He's in a good spot in our offense. Would have loved to see him make that play. Unbelievable play by Kirk to kind of see the coverage in real time and put that ball out there. And those are kind of what I'm talking about. Just one play away, and then guys started to really want to, be the guy that makes the play to change the momentum in the game. And it felt at times, me included, like we pressed a little bit. And that's where we just got to go back to it. And I can promise you this much: our guys, as even post game, there's a feeling of wanting to get right back to work. Bad taste in your mouth is one thing, but we know what our standard is, and it starts with me tonight. And I got to make sure I do much, much more to help our guys play to their standard.
On a long touchdown, we go 14 up, and where was the bust? It was seen out of the bust.
Yeah, it looked like they nailed down our kind of safety in a quarters look. I kind of caught the very end of it there, and that's what happens. You start, you get that coverage, to start declaring a little bit, and then with their run game in there. But I thought Jalen threw the ball really well tonight, and I thought they protected him well. Body blows with their run game, and then when those explosives, opportunities came. He made a lot of those plays, and they made those plays, and that's where you got to give those guys credit. Just our defense, they were on the field too much. We got to sustain more complementary football early, and that's on us as an offense. And then when we get those plays, momentum-changing plays throughout a game on the road, you got to do more with it offensively than we did, either off the blocked field goal or the interception.
Adam Thielen was saying it was on him to try to get open more. It just seemed like there weren't that many targets to him earlier in the game. Is it something that was game planned that way? Or?
No, it was, I can think back to a couple plays we were trying to get going for him early, and kind of by the look, we ended up checking to, a couple different things based upon protection, whatever it was. But Adam, you saw him kind of come to life. I know it was a little bit of, it had gotten away from us a little bit, but his me to you factor with Kirk is there. Kirk trusts him inherently, and we got to find ways to continue to get him the ball within the rhythm. But 21 plays in the first half, so not a lot of targets to go around in general when you only have 21 plays, and just when you can't convert on those early third downs, stay efficient. That's how we want to activate and operate and do a lot of the things that we do offensively. And when we don't do that, that's where I 100% put it on myself to make sure we find a way. And schematically, personnel-based, all of those things we'll go back and take a look at. But I can promise you I got so much confidence in our group offensively, the guys up front, our running backs, and obviously our skill players to make a lot of plays. And I thought Kirk battled tonight and put him in some tough spots. And I think our overall offensive philosophy, when we do not succeed, in activating those things, it puts a lot of pressure on the quarterback, and that's where, once again, put this 100% on me to be better for our offense, for our team, and that's kind of how I feel about it.
What are the challenges kind of you mentioned that?
All right, a lot of words there. High red, low red, activation rate, me to you factor. What about the wins and loss factor? When it comes to Kirk Cousins as an underdog on Monday Night Football, there's no question. Now 0-7, failing to cover that number in all 7 games as a starter. Now 60-60-2 in his career.